Hey, what's going on, my fellow LASPA members? This is Jordan bringing you the latest LASPA Underground news. Today's episode, I'm going to talk about union dues. More specifically, about an email that was sent out by our union president, Gil, saying that there's a proposal to raise our union dues. And the reason why is because of inflation and because we haven't raised our union dues in a number of years. Now, through some probing, I was able to find out that the real reason why they want to raise union dues is because the union has been overspending and that our union is essentially broke. We've basically depleted all of our reserve accounts, and we're now in a situation where we're operating month to month, paycheck to paycheck. So I hate to tell everybody, but I told you so. I saw this years ago in finding out about overspending, wasteful spending, questionable transfers of money from one nonprofit to another nonprofit organization. I saw this coming. And when you have an organization that is built on a culture of zero accountability, this is what happens. And now, because of the mismanagement of union business, they now want us to bail them out of the mess that they have created. Now, I'm sorry. If I give somebody money and they don't manage that money in a responsible manner and then come back and ask me for more money, I'm not going to give them a penny until you explain to me where every single dime, nickel, quarter, dollar was spent. I want to know everything, because me throwing more money at the problem, asking the membership to just blindly hand over more money without receiving a full and detailed financial report and knowing and answering every question that members have about financially where we are and how we got there is unbelievable. Okay. Now, look. So here they are asking for more money when historically the union has always acted in an evasive behavior in disclosing financially where we are. Okay. And then when members ask in writing to see the financial books, to see the check stubs, to see the bank statements, to see the credit card statements, to do all that, and they decide to violate members' rights according to the bylaws to be privy to all that information, I don't trust you, because you're not doing your job, in my opinion, in an ethical manner. How are you going to represent me and defend my rights as a member if you won't even stick to your own rules within your organization? How are you going to hold management accountable? How are you going to hold the district accountable? How are you going to negotiate for a contract when you obviously can't manage the money? And then on top of that, you feel that you're above the own laws within our governing our organization. So no, I am not going to be the first person in line to hand over more money without knowing what you did with the money that you had to begin with. Now, look, I know things that our PAC account has not grown over the last couple years. So that means that the union has been violating the bylaws that state that $20 from each member per month is supposed to go into the PAC account. That hasn't been happening. So they've been spending more money than what they're supposed to spend, and they're still broke. And now you want us to pay the highest, potentially the highest dues in the county without any explanation, without any further benefits being offered to the membership, without being accountable to the membership, You thought that the membership was just going to go with that? Now, I know in the past that the union has been able to rush agendas and force the membership to vote on things that have a huge impact on the welfare of the organization and on the individual member, and rush these votes and give minimal information for us to make an informed decision. But I think this proposal to raise the member dues has backfired greatly on Gil and E2 to raise the dues, because there is a large number of members within this organization that already feel that they're overpaying for what they're getting. And the idea of handing over more money and really getting nothing extra in return is ridiculous. So let's look at this situation strictly from a business standpoint. Now, if you're spending essentially your total net income, okay, and you find yourself spending every penny that's coming in addition to spending money that's supposed to be diverted into a PAC account. So you're spending that extra $20 a month, which comes out to about $100,000 a year extra, okay? And you find yourself having to dip into your nest egg, your savings account, your checking account, whatever account you want to, whatever they call it. When is it responsible management to sit there and realize, you know what, we're constantly having to go into this reserve money to pay the bills? When's a good time to stop what you're doing and say, you know what, maybe we need to reevaluate our costs. Maybe we need to look at what we're spending the money on and you know, make some changes, because spending every penny you have and depleting your savings is totally irresponsible. To wait until you're broke. That's the opposite of responsible. And then your first reaction before telling the members, hey, you know what, we're gonna cut this. We're not gonna, you know, we're totally gonna tighten the belt, right? And this is what we've done before coming to you and saying we want to raise the dues. We've trimmed the fat. Like we've saved $150,000 from what we're currently spending. And we want to raise the union dues. They didn't do that. They didn't start looking at the spending until they received pushback from the membership on their idea of raising the dues. So that's a problem for me, because that tells me that what they're doing, they don't see anything wrong with it. They don't believe that they've dropped the ball in this situation. They're reacting to to what the members are saying in their displeasure of where we are financially. Okay? So in my opinion, across the board, the union has completely dropped the ball. They've left us totally vulnerable because we have no money. We don't have any money to do anything. Okay? God forbid the union gets sued. God forbid we have to go and bring a suit against whoever to rectify a wrong. We don't have the money to do that because they've spent every penny that we have. And now we're dependent on getting those union due payout checks every month to survive. Now, I know for a fact at other police unions, heads would roll for this. People would be removed from their positions and sat in the corner because you have now put everybody's job in jeopardy. Okay. Your reaction to fixing the problem is totally insane. and things would get fixed. I know that for a fact because I talk to a lot of people from other agencies that are involved with their union, and this buffoonery is not tolerated at other agencies. So when you look at other unions and how they handle their business, I believe there's a direct correlation between member participation and union accountability, okay, and having people running the union that are doing it for the right reasons. I think there's a direct correlation between where they are in pay to where we are in pay, okay? I think that because these other unions do not tolerate nonsense that happens daily within our own union, that's why they're so much farther ahead. Don't believe the hype and the false information, put out by certain people within our union, past and present, of why it's so hard to get these things. It's not, because everybody else is doing better than us. So if you look internally to the mechanism that's supposed to give you that better life, the better compensation, the better benefits, the better representation, look at their union and look at ours. And like I said, if this happened at another union, I guarantee you that this would be rectified immediately. And it wouldn't be done by handing over more money. I promise you that. So I think the situation that we're in financially and the union's response, more specifically the president and the vice president, of how we're going to fix it, explains to me clearly why we are currently in the situation as a membership, of why we're in the situation that we're in as a whole when looking at compensation, when looking at working conditions, when looking at staffing levels, when looking at retention, all those things. So this financial situation really speaks to a broader overall problem in the efficiency of our union. So that's that. So getting back to LASPA's response to wanting to raise the union dues and Gil's email that went out, the fact that there wasn't a plan already in place from Gil and from E2 and from the treasurer, I think really speaks to what the priority or the ownership of fixing this problem, right? And how it came to be. The fact that there was never a plan already in place to reduce spending, to look at what we're spending the money on and making good decisions to reduce those costs, speaks to the mindset of those leaders. Because like I said, the 4 people that were just elected, they walked into this train wreck. They had no idea, just like how everybody else had no idea. So the people that I think that need to step up to the plate are the president, the vice president, and the treasurer, because they were there when all this went down. And they never informed the membership that this was the situation. And they never came to us with a plan before asking for more money to reduce costs. Now, one of the things that I heard after the pushback from members was, oh, we're going to switch over to FOP LDP for legal coverage. That's something that they've been trying to push for years, but not because of the cost issue, but because of all the perks and all the, the personally beneficial things that are going to come about for it. There's a reason why when FOP made their push in California and some agencies switched over to them, a lot of them switched back to LDF. I'm not interested in joining another national level organization such as NASRO, that has done absolutely nothing for our organization, has done nothing to increase our pay, has done nothing to make our lives better or our jobs more secure. So joining FOP under their program is going to be just like dealing with NASRO. It's a national level organization that could, in all honesty, care less about us. I'm going to stick with what I know. I'm going to stick with, in my opinion, the best attorneys in California that deal directly with police officers in representation in civil and criminal issues. I'm not going to go with somebody that doesn't have their finger on the pulse of how things are done in California, because California is much different than New Jersey or Florida or Indiana. California is probably one of the hardest states to be a police officer in. And I'm not going to rely on an organization that is not completely 100% invested in our business in California. So that for me is off the table. But that's one of the things that they brought after the fact. Oh, we'll just switch to FOP. We'll save $70,000 a year. Beverly Hills PD has LDF. Santa Monica has LDF. All these other agencies have LDF. There's a few, like LAPD and others, that do their own thing. But in large part, the majority of California unions use LDF, and for good reason. I have received nothing but the best representation for anything that I've ever been involved in. FOP, hey, if you want to roll the dice, go ahead. I'm not. I believe so much in the quality of firms from LDF that I would even pay out of my own pocket to those attorneys if something came up involving me. So just because it's cheaper, no, that is not the reason to switch the most important protection that police officers have in this state. That's like buying some no-name insurance for your vehicle and getting the lowest amount of coverage. I'm not doing that. I'm going with the cornerstones of the industry when something goes wrong. So now that I got to talk about the most important asset that a union has a responsibility to make sure that we have the absolute best coverage and representation, which only accounts for about a quarter of our overall budget as far as union dues go. I never heard a plan to reduce the other $350,000 a year in spending. They wanted to go after the most important asset that we have as members and try to go on the cheap with that. But they never addressed their own in-house spending. That goes against my logic computer 100%. So not only are they irresponsible with the money, but their decision-making logic is flawed. And like I said earlier, a lot of these agencies that thought they were going to save a buck by switching over to this national level legal coverage, a lot of them switch back. And if you want to know who they are, you can reach out and contact me and we'll have a conversation about that. But, their response is to go after something that is extremely important to me and to you and not address, the other $350,000 a year plus because they spent, a bunch of extra money that was in reserves. No, we're not going to address that. Our knee-jerk reaction is to go after PORAC LDF. Are you kidding me? Now, if you talk to officers in this members within our union that have had to go through an internal affairs investigation or go through a criminal deal because of use of force or whatever, they will tell you how important that representation is. So again, my frustration comes from their lack of, one, appreciating the most important thing and treating it like something that is not important, and totally ignoring our own internal spending in running the union, which I still, to this day, have no idea what they're spending that money on. So before you vote, before the union allows a vote to raise union dues, I believe it is the responsibility of the membership to hold them accountable and find out exactly what the heck is going on and how we got to where we are financially. I am not going to stand by and allow the union leadership, more specifically our union president and our union vice president, rush us into making a decision without knowing all the answers and allowing the membership to bring motions forward to fix the problem. Because obviously, because we're in a financial crisis now, because of their poor management, it's now up to the members to look at what's going on and make the right decisions for them, because they have proven to not be reliable and to not take their job seriously. And on a personal note, I believe those people that were in office that currently hold a spot within the union that allowed us to be extremely vulnerable financially, they should do the honorable thing and step down. Because I'm sorry, I can't trust you anymore. I don't believe that you're going to do the right thing, even if we give you more money. So again, I want to thank all the members that reached out and made contact with the e-board in demanding answers, in demanding documentation, and demanding that the books be shown to the membership. I also want to thank some of the new e-board members that have asked, questions and wanted accountability in financially where we are. Thank you so much, because I've been kind of doing this on my own for a while and haven't really got very far because of a lack of member participation. And it's easy to silence one person and ignore one person, but it's impossible to do that when a large portion of your membership is stepping up to the plate and asking for the same answers that I've been asking for a long time. So I'll report back to you guys on what I see. I'm going to go take a look at the books on Monday. I'll see whatever it is that they put out in front of me, and I'll report back to you guys with my findings or what they did or did not show me. And hopefully I'll be able to offer you guys some answers. Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.